By FanDuel Predicts, Kevin Gray alongside our DLLS Mavs beat writer Ron Harrod Jr., our DLLS Mavs analyst Bobby Corella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, cover your favorite team, especially when free agency opens tomorrow afternoon. We will get the table set for you tonight in our late night DLLS free agency special. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe wherever you are. We've got a lot to get to and not a lot of time to get to it all, but we will do the best we can. Our guy Marc Stein will be joining us here in just a few moments on this manic Monday evening. Ron Harrod Jr., what's going on?
It's feeling good for some late night DLS action. One of our first late night pods in a bit.
It is. And Stein will be very happy that we're doing a late night pod. Bobby Corella, what's going on?
Not much, gentlemen. I'm doing pretty well. Although I must say, for the last 2 nights for dinner, I have just had a Tupperware bowl of ground beef, white rice, black beans, and green beans. It is bland slop. So I'm ready for some free agency action to spice things up and bring it back to my life.
Well, this is what happens with live television. So Stein is efforting, reporting, and doing all kinds of things. It's been a circus all day. So I want you to hang tight with this. He will be joining us in our next segment. So Stein has got a lot of reporting that he's got a lot to do. So he'll be joining us at around 9:15. So don't go anywhere. Stein's going to spill it all, which he can, coming up at 9:15. But we've got a lot to get to start off with because there have been some big-time moves that have already been made today. We'll get to the other news that the Mavericks had, particularly with Ryan Nembhard. Moussa Cisse, Dusty May was also introduced today as the Mavericks' 11th head coach in franchise history. But, gentlemen, we've had trades, and lots of them. Congratulations, John Morant. You are a Portland Trailblazer. Yes, you heard right, a Portland Trailblazer. John Morant traded today for the Memphis Grizzlies in exchange for Jeremy Grant and Mr. Murray as well. So the Ja experience is over in Portland as he will be moving on, and the Portland Trailblazers have a new starting backcourt. Yes, our king, my guy, John Morant, is now a Portland Trailblazer. Your guys' reactions to that trade that we saw take place earlier today?
I was a little shocked, I'm going to be honest. I think I had a couple reactions. I was shocked. I'm like, what are they going to do with the other guards there? And then I'm like, oh, no, I'm going to see some pretty negative tweets that are not going to go in a very positive way, knowing that John Morant's involved in the deal. Just like complete stuff that's going to be like, good God. Like just those type of tweets relating to Ja. So it was like a bunch of those thoughts that came. But at the end of the day, like, I guess Dame and Ja is like fun. It's probably good for basketball, maybe. Some storylines, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how good he is or how good they'll fit, but you know, the more interesting thing for me, and I think the more interesting thing for Mavs fans, is just what does that mean for namely Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe. The Blazers have already, or Chris Haynes has already reported on behalf of, let's be honest, Damian Lillard, that the Blazers plan to start Dame and Ja together as a backcourt. Now, obviously, that could change. But if that's the plan, then you got Scoot and Shaedon Sharpe, guys that they've spent. If I'm not mistaken, Shaedon Sharpe was also a top 10 pick, or certainly first round pick in the last couple of years.
Top 10.
They're going to be bringing both of them off the bench. Like, I don't know about that. As they're approaching extension eligibility, I don't know about that. So, you know, if I'm a team that is building toward the future, well, I mean, wouldn't it be nice to add a young guard to learn from Kyrie Irving for a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or a couple months? I think I sure think it would. So I'm now paying full attention to what's going on up there. Or are the Blazers going to turn around and trade all those guys for Jaylen Brown? I think either is possible. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no picks exchanged at all in that deal. John Morant goes to the Portland Trailblazers in exchange for Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. Much like we saw with the Trae Young trade, no picks exchanged there either. It was Corey Kispert, an expiring CJ McCollum, that went to Atlanta in exchange for Trae Young. Scoot Henderson is a guy who dealt with hamstring injury last year, started to shoot the ball a little bit better from the three-point line. Would you invite a Scoot Henderson to a backcourt that's starting to be pretty logjam with Drew Holiday, obviously Damian Lillard there, obviously with Scoot Henderson as well? It sounds like, Bobby, you wouldn't mind taking a flyer potentially on a Scoot Henderson here in Dallas.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, there's some risk. He is entering the last year of his deal, I believe. He was the same draft as Derek Lively, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, would it be a situation where you have to trade for him and then give him an extension before you see him play? Like, that seems kind of risky. I mean, that's getting way down the hypothetical line, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see what he has. And I think for any guard in the league, regardless of age, but especially if you're under 25, there aren't many better, players and people to learn from than Kyrie. So I would absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think Scoot would be fun. I'm not, I haven't quote unquote sold all the Scoot Henderson stock. I still think he has a chance to be a really, really good player in the NBA. I don't think it's like done for Scoot Henderson, and maybe Mike Schmitz might have something to say about that. Like, he probably knows just as much about Scoot Henderson as like literally anyone in any other NBA front office outside of Portland. So if Mike Schmitz likes Scoot Henderson, I would not be shocked if the Mavs make a call to Portland like, "Hey, you're shopping Drew Holiday. You're shopping possibly Scoot Henderson. Like, what can we do to get another veteran guard and then another developmental guard in our system?" And I don't think there's no like player currently on the Mavericks that would like stop me from trading for a Scoot Henderson. Like, I like, they drafted Sergio, drafted a couple other players, but none of those players would like stop me from like taking on like the former number 3 pick in the NBA draft. Like, Scoot Henderson, yes, he'll be coming up in a contract, but like, it's a good thing if you trade for Scoot Henderson and then you just like, okay, I should actually pay him more money because that means he overachieved in Dallas, which could be something really good. And he fits Cooper Flagg's timeline, which I know makes everyone pretty happy.
Scoot Henderson is going to be making $13.5 million this upcoming year for the Portland Trail Blazers at the age of 22, as he, of course, is currently on his rookie deal. We'll see what happens with Portland as they continue to remake their backcourt. Could Drew Holiday and others be on the move as they continue with their new head coach and Micah Nori there in Portland? But the news that got everyone buzzing yesterday evening involved a former NBA champion, someone who used to play with the Toronto Raptors, and Masai Ujiri, who he knows very well, who has spent the last 7 years in Los Angeles with the Clippers. Word broke yesterday, according to reports by the Athletics, Christian Clark, and others, that the Dallas Mavericks had showed interest in Kawhi Leonard of the Los Angeles Clippers with a package potentially of picks, PJ Washington, and Klay Thompson. Now, we'll talk more to our guy Marc Stein about that coming up in our next segment. But that was the news that really got Mavs fans going yesterday evening that sent shockwaves across the association. Could the Mavericks actually reunite Masai Ujiri with Kawhi Leonard in Dallas? Ron, what was your initial thoughts when you heard that particular piece of news break out?
I wasn't completely shocked, but it was like Masai Ujiri says, we're playing for the future. And then a Kawhi, to me, would feel like you're more on Kyrie Irving's timeline than Cooper Flagg's timeline. But then the package came out, and it was, reportedly, was it PJ Washington, 2 first-round picks? We don't know the 2 first-round picks. And Klay Thompson was the other player, to my knowledge, right?
Klay Thompson.
And Klay Thompson. So, that's not like a ton. I guess it would depend on like what the picks are and like how is it like a swap? Is it 2 unprotected? Like it depends kind of a lot of those different factors. But like if it's like a swap and maybe 1 unprotected, like I'd probably listen. Like it's Kawhi is such a good player that if the package is not like detrimental to like your long-term growth, like I don't think he would like hurt Cooper Flagg's like growth or anything. I think they would like play fine. Then Coop actually probably would benefit from Kawhi being on this team. It just would be like, you don't want to lose assets, major long-term assets for Kawhi. That would be the main problem. So long as they don't do that, which that package didn't seem like that's what that was, then I would be opposed to it.
I'm going to be honest. Kawhi is a really good player. I do not see the fit next to Coop on a basketball court. I think the people that have been listening to our show for a long time would remember that around this time last year, I was pretty often comparing Coop's game to Kawhi's. So I don't know why you would want like an older Kawhi is probably a better offensive player. I mean, definitely a better offensive player than Coop right now. He's probably still a better defensive player whenever he's on. But why would you want like another version of Coop that's 15 years older than him? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That said, he's a really, really good player. So, I mean, I would be able to talk myself into it if that was something that was actually true. But yeah, I mean, Kawhi or Stein pretty quickly shot down the Kawhi stuff yesterday based on what he knows. So I'm sure he'd have more to say about it. But yeah, I think really it's like, I mean, first off, we haven't really seen the Mavs connected to anyone specifically. It would just be really surprising if in the Ron, like what you were saying, if in the first offseason of Masai, amid all this future talk, it's let's trade 28-year-old PJ for 35-year-old Kawhi. I would have a hard time believing that that's true.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of bringing in a Kawhi Leonard who just turned 35 today on the final year of his 3-year, $150 million contract extension, he's going to be paid $50 million, this upcoming year. The people that kept replying to me were saying, look, $50 million is coming off your books. If you keep it for the year and you don't sign to an extension, that's $50 million coming off your books going into the summer of 2027, where theoretically there's going to be some big names available potentially in free agency. I just don't get the idea that, as Messiah's talked about, we're making future-based decisions here, that Kawhi Leonard would be a future-based decision, because I wouldn't imagine that you would want to pay someone on the other side of 35 a multi-year extension. But at the same time, it is what it is. David Collins, I hear Bob is expected to sign a Supermax with DLLS. Curious how this affects Ron's development.
Well, that would be news to me. I sure hope it's true. I would love it to be true.
If anybody deserves a Supermax, it's our guy Bobby Krell. He deserves a Supermax for sure.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it just didn't make sense based off of what Masai has said. And I had a hard time believing, Ron, that for a second time, 8 years later, that would be like me trading Ron for Stein. Jeez, wow. That the idea would be 8 years later, you do the same thing, Masai, where you trade for Kawhi Leonard with 1 year left on his contract with no guarantee that he would sign an extension for you, and see how that plays out again. I didn't think that would necessarily be a good idea based off of where they are and what Kawhi's timeline really is at this point in his career too.
It's probably I think with the Kawhi thing and why it didn't feel realistic to me is because, like, if he doesn't sign the extension, it's like, well, what's the point of that?
Well, I said the $50 million comes off your books. Like that's an expiring contract that comes off your books.
Picks to like get off my books, especially like PJ Washington. Like PJ Washington is not like this horrible asset that no team would ever want. Like, this is not that contract. He's not, other players that have worn a Maverick uniform over the years. I'm pretty sure Mavs fans could spam in the comments of the many names of players that the Mavericks could not get off. I don't think PJ Washington is that guy, and Clay's already expiring. So if they don't give up any picks and they traded like a couple of players that are not Coop and Kyrie for Kawhi, and then it becomes a rental, then I'm not. But then I wouldn't say anything, because like if he leaves or doesn't leave, you probably go off. You said maybe contracts and maybe go through the free agency route. But like I don't know what player would possibly be able to be signed as better than Kawhi. I mean, he's probably one of the 5 best players in the league last year. Like, that was healthy. Now, a lot of players were hurt last year, but he played like he was like a 50, 40, 90 around type player with elite defense. He's not like a, ball hog, I would say. I mean, he's not a great passer, but I would say he's like, just completely kills an offense. Coop can do some Kawhi stuff, but like Kawhi's like a 40% 3-point shooter. So it's not like Kawhi's like a cone on defense and can't shoot. Like, he can do both those at a relatively high level, especially for his age. He again, it wouldn't be like my preference or any Mavs fans' preference. It just, like, to me, it just would depend on the package. Like, is it picks involved? What are the picks? Is it BS picks? Like, what is the package? The package really matters with Kawhi.
Yeah, but it doesn't make you better at anything that you're bad at right now. Like, shooting, you need playmaking, he can kind of make plays. You need shooting, he can shoot, but like with the ball in his hands. You need point of attack defense. You don't want them doing that anymore. You need guys that don't get hurt every effing day of their lives. That is definitely not him. You need guys that are closer to 20 than they are to 40. That is definitely not him either. So like it's literally, it doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't help you build toward anything. It helps you today for the next 6 months, possibly. That is just way too much to give up for something that makes you only slightly increases your chances of a top 6 seed one time.
Kawhi Leonard's played 65 games, at least 65 games, 2 out of the last 3 years. He played 65 games last year, only 37 the year before that, and then played 68 during the 23-24 season. So this is obviously a player that has a storied injury history and has the inability to stay healthy. But when he is on the floor, we saw this past year, he was arguably the best player in the league for stretches, long stretches of this year after that poor 6-21 start that the Clippers had to find themselves climbing back over 500 and eventually, getting themselves within a playoff striking distance. But yeah, that was the one that really got the Mavs Twitter going. Obviously, as we get ready to open up free agency tomorrow, more on what this free agency period could look like for the Dallas Mavericks, particularly in the trade market, where we've seen a lot of deals go down and potentially Expendables Avengers mercenary type reunion potentially taking place in Golden State. But our guy Marc Stein will be joining us next year on the DLLS Mavs free agency special. We'll be right back.
Folks, you're probably a little nervous right now. Maybe you're excited. Free agency is about to start. Maybe you want to have a little celebration if the Mavs get someone that you really like. Maybe you want to drink away your sorrows if they don't. Well, Juno's Liquor can set you up for a fantastic weekend, or any special occasion. 3 area DFW locations: Arlington, Keller, Irving, Las Colinas, depending on your persuasion. Very friendly staff, very helpful, very knowledgeable. They have a ton of selections. They actually recommend new stuff to us all the time. I'm kind of a simple guy. I have some of my favorites, but they have helped broaden my horizons quite a bit, and they can do the same thing for you. And better yet, they're a local business. They're a small local business, so you can support them while supporting us at the same time. You go to Juno's Liquor, tell them that DLLS sent you, and you can save 10% off your first purchase. That is a whole lot of money if you're stacking bottles to have a big party. So check them out today. Again, 3 area locations: Arlington, Keller, and Irving. Juno's Liquor Store, and tell them that DLLS sent you. Also, folks, it's Prize Picks time, okay? You know how it works. 2 to 6 players, whether they'll record more or less than their projected stat lines, they're going, well, wait a minute, Bobby Carella from DLLS Mavs podcast. There's no more basketball. What am I supposed to do on Prize Picks? It's not just basketball, loyal listener / viewer. It is anything. It's any sport. WNBA is still going on, okay? We got some soccer being played right now. Hockey might be over, but baseball is still going strong. And before you know it, football is going to be here too. Preseason football is right around the corner. Sports is always happening, and there's always something to do on Prize Picks. That's why it's a preferred partner of the NBA and also a preferred partner of the DLS podcast, okay? All the DLS Sports Network. We love Prize Picks. We're always playing it. They have early payout features. They have the Flex Friday. It's a great day of the week. It's my favorite day of the week. Shout out to them. So again, check them out. Create a new account. Use promo code DLLS when submitting your first $5 lineup to get $50 in free lineups to use anytime you like on Prize Picks.
Welcome back here to the DLS Mavs free agency special here live on DLLS Sports. Joining us here as he will be doing a ton of reporting over the next several days and already has done so plenty so far leading into free agency tomorrow afternoon. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line with our guy Marc Stein. Marc, what's going on?
Gents, chat, good evening. How is everybody?
Doing well. The question is, how are you doing? How are you holding up? You doing okay?
Do I have the right hat on?
You do.
Okay, that's a good start.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just get into it. In 2 words, spill it. Spill it all. What you got?
Next question.
Mark, we were just talking about Kawhi. That stuff came out yesterday, and then you reported something that was maybe a little different. So you have 1 to 2 minutes to prove to us why we should believe you.
Well, This is the second year that I've been on. We're nearing the end of year 2 of this show. So if you don't believe me by this point, that would raise some questions. GM Ben should probably exit the chat. He will not be winning GM of the year if
Oh wow.
if that's the case.
Shots fired.
I can only go based on what I've been told. Jake Fisher and we were the first to report Toronto's interests. We've been all over these talks since Thursday, and I just have to, like I said, I can only relay what our reporting has found, and it was stated to us quite clearly last night that to this point, I will underline to this point, the Mavericks have not been seen as a plausible landing spot for Kawhi, and Dallas has not been communicated to Kawhi as a potential destination. But I will say, the one thing I will say is there's an undeniable relationship, respect that will last forever between Kawhi Leonard and Masai Ujiri. They were only together for a season, but it led to a championship. Masai Ujiri obviously made the bold decision to trade for Kawhi Leonard heading into the last season of his deal. They won it all. Kawhi went to Los Angeles. And look, I think Kawhi still wants to be in Los Angeles, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think, given his druthers, he would leave the Clippers, but he wants an extension on top of a trade. And he also doesn't really want to just go anywhere. Like, as part of our reporting on this story, we reported that Detroit, which was seen as a team that would definitely want to go after Kawhi, that he would not want to extend there. Ditto Miami. And just for the past 4 or 5 days, the drumbeat has only gotten louder and louder that he really would want to do an extension in Toronto, which I think has stunned a lot of people because of the way things ended there. But to this point, that has been the messaging. I think other teams have tried to get in this. And so Masai being, that acquiring Kawhi in the first place was his most famous move. Did the Mavs inquire? I mean, I imagine they inquired or could have inquired, and Kawhi does not have a no trade clause. I don't think so. The only active no trade clauses in the league last year were LeBron and Damian Lillard. So I'm doing that off the top of my head, but I don't believe that's the case, as someone just put in chat. But
I guess he kind of has a de facto one, given the fact that if he's telling people, I'm only going to sign one place, that could start to eliminate teams on where Toronto could potentially find, or excuse me, where the Clippers could find a deal for him if he's not going to sign somewhere particularly. So,
good super chat here from Billy. Do the Clippers have to wait for the investigation to finish before they can do anything with Kawhi? To this point, I'm going to underline those words again. To this point, we've been given no indication that the Clippers have to wait. They've been in active talks now with the Raptors for days. Again, my sense is that other teams have tried to engage them as well. So if the Clippers are going through these talks, that certainly suggests that they think they can trade him. And look, there's really no case in NBA history like the allegations of salary cap circumvention that have been foisted upon the Clippers. Everybody goes back to the Joe Smith scenario, which is really the only thing close that we have. But you remember, even in the Joe Smith scenario, the player lost the contract he was promised, but was not like punished or, like the sanctions. There's no evidence yet to suggest that the sanctions are going to extend to the player beyond potentially losing a contract. But it's not like Kawhi somehow getting suspended. I don't see anything. I don't see anything like that.
Mark, I need to jump in here. You left off the last part of that super chat.
Did I? Oh, it was the Yogi Ferrell part.
Shout out Yogi and Darren Carlson. It's really important that we read the whole super chat,
W.
especially whenever you're shouting out a real Mavs legend.
My bad.
Yogi,
my bad. I was editing for time. My bad.
I can say now that it's been 8 years
That Darren Collison is your favorite. I mean, that Yogi Ferrell is your all-time favorite Maverick.
He's in the top like 3, and he ain't 3. But on the eve of free agency in 2018,
I'll be sure to tell Dirk.
No, well, Dirk is number 1, obviously. Okay, and also number 2, and is in a 2-way tie with number 3 with Yogi Ferrell. Yogi told me on the eve of free agency in 2018 that he hoped to be back in Dallas, and obviously that was a weird situation. So things do change all the time.
Did you tweet it?
I did not. I would have gotten fired promptly if I did tweet that at the time. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sal UY6CQ says, Stein, what's your prediction as to when this trade will happen? That still can't. I mean, nobody can say that. I mean, the Clippers and the Raptors now have been in talks here for 2-3 days at least. And look, the Clippers want more than the Raptors are currently willing to surrender. And the Raptors are saying that they are only going to go so far. So is there a chance that the talks come apart? I mean, I think you have to at least put that down as a consideration. But look, and the other thing too is like, we know, and I said this wrong on the All NBA show last night, but now I'm going to say it correctly. The Clippers have been owned by Steve Ballmer for 12 seasons. They've never had a losing record. So he's the one the Clippers have to convince to go through with the Kawhi trade. I just don't think he really wants to give it up because he knows they might have a losing season and they don't want that. So I can't call it yet in terms of like how close is this? I mean, there is a part of me that looks at it and says when talks have gone this far and have been out there to this degree, it's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. But the Clippers, like, and obviously Toronto, don't ask about Colin Murray-Boyles because you're not getting him, and surely the Clippers would naturally want that. So I don't know. I really don't know how it turns out in the end, but I think it's already been a crazy story just that the Raptors are at the forefront of this chase and that all the messaging has been Kawhi would extend with the Raptors after the way it ended 8 years ago. Yeah. 7 years ago. My bad. 7 years ago.
Can I ask you a newly topical question that is near and dear to my heart?
Sure.
So
you are so funny. Can I ask you? Is it okay?
I'm glad Bobby jumped in because I'm like, I was about to say like let's get to the meat and potatoes here because but you go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So there are 2 teams. There's one team, as you know, Mark, that I've kept a very close eye on for the last like 15 years, but mostly the last few months because they just have too many dang guards, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, a new team though has entered the chat. The Portland Trail Blazers. They have way too many. All right. Now, in the interest of keeping things future-based, I'm going to ignore one of my all-time favorite players, Drew Holiday, for a second. Drew, I still love you, but my attention is now on Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe, and then a little southward, but still northward of here in OKC, my attention is on Cason Wallace. Now, I'm not going to ask you publicly, Mark, to confirm or deny. I believe NY Post _Lewis's report about the Nets potentially and Cason Wallace, maybe not super happy going into extension talks, whatever. What, to your knowledge, what are the Mavs' chance of getting Cason Wallace? Just kidding. Are any of those guys, Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, any OKC guard, like what do you know about those guys?
Since OKC lost in the Western Conference Finals, we've been talking about Dort. Maybe this is the time they're going to trade Dort. And even tonight, when they picked up his option, the chatter out there was, oh, this gives them a lot of options. Like, and look at the Thunder's roster now. They've traded away Aaron Wiggins. They've traded away Isaiah Joe. They can keep their team as is now and add their 2 first-round picks. So I think now that Lou Dort's option's been picked up, teams are going to try to pry him away via trade. But the reason I bring that up is because even trying to figure out his future is hard to project. And I just think Sam Presti is going to do everything in his power to try to keep Case and Wallace. Like I just think he's going to be very hard to get away, and I'm probably even giving more encouragement to it than I want to. Like, you know, I'm sure there's, you know, they want more in potential extension talks that will be presented, because we know the Thunder are famous for driving a hard bargain in talks with anybody. So I think that's, you know, probably natural chatter. I just think it's going to be really hard to get him. I'm just as curious as you, more so on Sharpe than Scoot. Look, the Blazers now are in a position of strength when you really think about it. They have, if they go with a 3-guard rotation of Ja, Dame, and Drew, even if they make Scoot and Shaedon available, like there's going to be no shortage of interest. So the Mavs, if they're interested in either one, and obviously I think everyone's done the research that watches this show. So, I mean, I'm sure you've all seen, I mean, you all know Mike Schmitz was a fan of both of those guys. I mean, he was there when they drafted them. So, but the Mavs would not be in that race by themselves if Mike Schmitz is indeed watching the show and saying, you know what, Bobby Carella's right. I'm going to check on that tomorrow. I'm going to check on that tonight.
Well,
like,
Mike,
so
I got a lot of more ideas.
do the Blazers have another move? Do the Blazers have another move that they want to pursue? I mean, that's another thing that we're still trying to nail down.
Let's get to some of these free agents for the Mavericks, because this free agency opens tomorrow at 5 p.m. CeeLo's in the chat asking when this free agency actually opens tomorrow. It opens up at 5 p.m. Let's get to some of the guys that are our free agents for the Dallas Mavericks. Let's starting with, obviously, you have Dwight Powell, Brandon Williams. We saw that Musa Cisse had his deal picked up today, so he is a two-way player now for the Dallas Mavericks. Ryan Nembhard also had his team option picked up as well. You have Marvin Bagley and Chris Middleton. Where do we stand as we get ready to head into free agency on those gentlemen, particularly Powell, Brandon Williams, Bagley, and Chris Middleton starting tomorrow?
Well, the reality is that at the start of free agency, those players typically wouldn't be at the forefront of decisions. I mean, with so many trades still being discussed, with, you know, like it usually is going to take a minute before players in that price range are sorted out. I mean, you saw they did the paperwork on Cisse, so now he's restricted. They can't lose him. They picked up Nembhard's option, which, you know, obviously that was a must, you know, and, you know, Ryan is with the Canadian national team right now. I reported earlier today that he's scheduled to come to Summer League and join the Mavs Summer League team as soon as he's done with Canada. Now with Canada, it's a 16-man roster for 12 spots. And so we'll see. He would have to make the team to stay all the way. But if Ryan Nembhard does make the 12, he would probably be tied up with the Canadian national team all the way to July 7th. And Summer League, the Mavs' first Summer League game is July 9th. But we will be seeing Ryan Nembhard in Summer League. Hopefully we see Cisse as well. I assume that's the case, but I frankly didn't ask that today, so I will follow up and get that confirmed as well. Look at Bobby. But it's now let's put it like this. On someone like Chris Middleton, there could be a bit of a race to, like, I don't think it's a huge secret that Miami has interest in Chris Middleton and reuniting him with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and obviously the Heat only can chase minimums. So, you know, Jake Fisher and I reported last night or at some point over the weekend that Tim Hardaway Jr., Mike Conley Jr., the Heat are known to have interest in those guys. Instinct tells me they will land Tim Hardaway Jr. Do they go after Chris Middleton? You know, that's been widely anticipated. Here we go. Middleton took Boozer away from us. Here we go.
DeBonta, not Boozer. Come on. Let's get serious.
Oh man, that comment just made me relive 6 weeks of endless shows that I don't miss.
We're beyond that now.
No,
We're beyond
not
that.
at all. Not at all.
So, yeah. Now, Dwight Powell, like, man, I can't imagine the Mavericks without Dwight Powell. Like, I just think he's got to be your 15th guy for the vibes. But, you know, we do have to see when the roster plays out, is there an open 15th spot?
Okay.
I see the question on De La Rey. Will De La Rey play Summer League? The reports out of Spain are not meshing and jiving with the information that I get when I've checked on it. So I'm asking every day for updates on this. You know, there's still plenty of time for them to sort all this out. But whenever I ask, the answer is they're still working through it. But let's cross our fingers and hope that happens.
So real quick on Marvin Bagley, what about him as far as his free agency?
I did hear of an Eastern Conference team trying to steal him away, but I've actually heard sources debunk it and back it up. And so I don't even want to name the team because until I can say for sure, I don't want to give falseness. I don't want to say anything that might not be correct. So,
okay. Marcus for PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford. Where are we on those gentlemen?
They're basically where it's been since I don't remember what day it was. I reported that the Mavs were fielding interest in all three of those guys. That was one of my reports in the last month, and it's been a while, and I really have not heard any. Like, here's an interesting one. Atlanta is known to be after a big man. And Jake and I were told last night that Gafford is not believed to be a Hawks target. And then the Hawks ended up making a trade today to get Devin Carter from Sacramento, and it wasn't even for a big. So, but again, it's still early, and it's well known that the Mavs will. My BlackBerry's right here, Victor Lugo, and the other phone, I'm talking to you guys on the other phone. So only two. Where was Dusty May brought up PJ today at his press conference, so that certainly caught my eye that he was singled out when he was going through some of the roster.
Mark, like Tim, not necessarily the way that Tim puts it. Tim says gaff to a poster and Pistons, but with Jalen Duren potentially taking meetings with teams and stuff, is that one of those? Is that like everyone is going to sit around and wait to see what he does before they move for other big men?
No. Really I wouldn't say that, because remember, like, restricted with this free agent class, a lot of the best players are restricted free agents. And I cannot forget last summer and how restricted free agency just took the whole summer with Kuminga and Giddey and Quentin Grimes and Cam Thomas. And so I think what we're seeing is the agents of these restricted free agents remember that, and they're trying to light a spark here earlier than, to try to get it moving. But it's just, it's so difficult with restricted free agents because nobody wants to endure the waiting period. And even if you commit to an offer sheet, if I'm doing the salary cap math right, it doesn't start till July 6th, because that's the day that teams can officially start signing stuff, contracts or offer sheets. So even if Team X, even if the Sacramento Kings decide like that they're gonna give Duren an offer sheet, the only way that thing can really move is if a sign and trade was verbally agreed between Sacramento and Detroit, and then you still have to wait till July 6th, which gives time for things to fall apart. So I don't think teams are waiting. But look, Duren, Kessler, and Victor Lugo is exactly right. Late? This is early for me. I feel seen. This is just a good time to talk hoops. The 9 o'clock hour on a weeknight. Excellent time to talk hoops.
And then Stein, the reporters got a chance to talk to, Derek Lively a little bit on Friday. He's not really running. He's not really jumping at this time, which I know scared some Mavs fans, but, he wouldn't ask him about like a timeline. Is there any like training camp, first game of the season? Like he said, there was like essentially no timeline. It was like, just get healthy for the knee. Do you think that would slow down their interest in trading Daniel Gafford?
No, I don't. I think if they got an offer for Gafford that they liked, I still think they would go for it because I just, I don't know. I mean, it's a good question, but my instinct is no. I think if they got an offer for him they liked, they would take it. But they don't have to rush into everything. I think everybody wants a trade because we want action, but it doesn't. These guys are available. Everyone around the league knows it, and at some point, one of the three is going to get moved. Maybe and who knows if it even goes beyond that.
So what is your sense as we are hours away from free agency beginning tomorrow, and obviously the continuation of what has been already a busy trade period across the NBA, about the Mavericks movement during this free agency period, not just with respect to trades, but overall free agency with the space that they do have to work with? What is your anticipation, or what are your read based off of what you're gathering and understanding?
Well, I mean, here's the truth. Me included, so focused on Kawhi resolution, all the big trades that are out there in the ether. What's happening with these restricted free agents? Oh yeah, there's a guy named LeBron James who we've been waiting for clues about what might finally happen with him, and the Warriors are trying to make moves to go after LeBron James. The Mavs aren't part of these discussions. So to this point, that's why there hasn't been a ton of Mavs chatter. Now, when multi-team trades need to be constructed, maybe that creates opportunity for the Mavs to get into a deal because, they've got some salaries that everyone knows are available. So they could, maybe they get roped in that way. But it's like that. I think that's why to this point, there hasn't been tons of Mavs chatter about, the other thing too is like, who are the free agents? Give me free agents that you would like to see them go after.
Sexton, Mathurin, maybe Grimes, maybe not.
Okay. Mathurin is going to be interesting because we have to see, do the Clippers actually, and that actually, what did they tender him today? I've lost track.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I didn't even hear about that.
I think they had to make a decision on him today.
I'm assuming they did. It would be.
There's been a lot. Well, there's been a lot of curiosity. If there's been a lot of curiosity, would the Clippers actually walk away from him? And they didn't pick up Bogdanovic's. They were not Batum and Bogdanovich. I think they said they're not bringing back. So there's been some talk that do the Clippers operate as a cap space team in free agency? But now that you guys asked about Mathurin, I can't remember what
they did tender him today.
Okay, so
yes,
I'm gonna have to go to a cap expert, which I don't have at my fingertips right this second, to see what that does to their cap situation. But if they tendered him, he's restricted now. So if you're going after him, he's restricted. Now the Mavs maybe the Mavs a wait for an offer sheet doesn't really mess them up, because they're not like the Lakers who want Walker Kessler, and if they put an offer sheet in on Walker Kessler, it ties up their money and maybe they miss an opportunity somewhere else. I think the Mavs, they can approach things differently. Stein, if the Pistons lose Duran, how fast is Cade a Mav? Oh man, not as fast as you would like, or me. I'm a Cade fan.
How real is that for Duren in Sacramento? Is that a real potential of happening, a sign and trade? Are we talking about Domantas Sabonis potentially going to Detroit in exchange for Jalen Duren? How real is that? Your buddy Chris Haynes was all over that earlier
before
today.
I get to that, like I see Mamu say, or Victor Lugo say, what about Mamu? Yeah, he would be nice too, but I mean, he's going to have certain playoff teams going after him. I mean, he's going to get a significant chunk of the mid-level, and Toronto's trying hard to retain him. So I just don't think the Mavs are seen as far enough down the playoff line to compete with teams that are clearly playoff material. And look, if the Mavs elect to keep Kyrie and Coop takes the leap that we expect in year 2, I mean, they could be much better than projected, but you still wouldn't say, I mean, I don't know, maybe you would, but I think even last year, for all the internal expectations they have, what were we all saying? 41-41 or thereabouts was, I think, all of our projection range going into last season when they really yours was sub 41-41.
Yeah, he had them not winning 41 games.
So, I mean, what do you think the Mavs projection is going to be going into this season based on what we know right now? I mean, it's going to probably
folks 38.5, maybe.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
38 feels like without in my head the first number that popped up.
No more than 40. Yeah,
but I also think it's early in the like. There is the potential for this roster to look much different. I mean, I'm sure they're going to look at every possibility, and you know, I would not be surprised if they make a slew of changes. I will not be surprised.
Real quick, because folks have been begging for it in the chat, and I'll oblige for 30 seconds. What the hell's going on in Los Angeles?
Well, I'm just curious. Why is that such a question for us?
It's spam in the chat, and I'm sick of seeing it. So
one person in the chat is. We don't have to acknowledge spammers, but it does seem like everyone's leaving.
Yeah.
Well, look, their focus is obviously they've got to get a big man. And Kessler, is there a pathway to getting him? I mean, I'm struggling to see it. But again, I think restricted free agency has taken on a different tone because all these agencies saw what happened last summer and they're like, we do not want to go through that with our guys. So let's get meetings on the books. Let's start throwing out sign and trade ideas. And look, Sacramento has had Sabonis available to some degree since the trade deadline. I don't know what the Pistons' appetite would be to bring Sabonis in. I mean, as based on everything I know, Duren is a Cade Cunningham favorite. The Pistons have said over and over that he is, if not the offseason priority, he's certainly up there on the list. I can't imagine they want to lose Duren. So, I mean, those are the Lakers are, tomorrow the Lakers will be in the mix for those two guys to some degree, but like they're restricted free agents. Like, how are you getting them away from their teams? So the other big question is LeBron. Like, is he prepared to say, I want to play somewhere else? Is he prepared? Like, there's been the only certainty we've had with LeBron in free agency, in this buildup to free agency happening, is we've known that the Warriors want him. We don't know what LeBron wants yet.
All right, that's good enough for me.
Else?
We sit and wait. Obviously, I think a lot of Mavericks fans are bracing, or I should say, not a lot. Some are bracing for this to be a quiet summer for this team, given what is available free agency wise, restricted free agency wise, and the fact that individuals like PJ, Clay, Gafford in particular.
Maybe an exercise we need to do with chat. Now I'm going to step away, but maybe we get into this tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. Like, what constitutes an ideal Mavs summer?
No clue.
Well,
if you stick around
for 10 seconds, you'll see answers.
No, but I'm just saying everyone on this show could come up with their own vision of what that is, and Tanner could make a graphic and we can engage chat. Cause like I think I'm curious, is there anything close to a consensus about what DLS and its many listeners want out of this summer? And it's so I love these medical staff questions. I mean, guys, if there's a 90+% chance, and 90 is probably low, that whoever it is, the names are not going to mean anything to anybody because none of us are in the medical field. If the Mavs could get Casey Smith from the Knicks, yes, everyone in chat would rejoice and have an opinion on that. But like, I don't think the Knicks, who just won a championship, are going to hand deliver Casey Smith back to the Mavericks.
You act like the internet don't exist and people won't go look this stuff up to see where these people used to work at.
But even if candidate X, who was amazing for his 13 seasons with, the Detroit Pistons, like, what does that really tell you?
It gives Mavs fans some kind of reassurance that someone knows what they're doing.
It gives you
That's what they want. That's what they want. That's what they want.
But if it's just a name that we don't know.
We don't know like their practices or like what they're doing on the table.
Does anyone? I mean, do any teams like? I think
you underestimate the power that Mavs fans have had when going through all this the last couple of years.
No, now there's what R. Lewis 20 says. They hire Alex McKechnie. Now that's true. If the Mavs could somehow get Alex McKechnie away from the Raptors, we would have a headline. But again, I don't think the Raptors especially are going to let Masai Ujiri swipe Alex McKechnie from them, especially if the Raptors are trying to get Kawhi Leonard back. If the Raptors are trying to get Kawhi Leonard back, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to do everything they can to keep Alex McKechnie right where he is. But that I will give you that one. If they hired Alex McKechnie, we could have a segment about it.
There you go.
But I'm just saying there's very few people who like we're gonna know. Oh, like what's the this is terrible because I always have to ask Kevin to remind me. I wrote the story, but I need Kevin's help. Who'd they hire from the Bulls as the strength coach?
The guy.
Jeff something. I can't remember.
Jeff Poles, P-U-L-S.
Yes, Jeff Poles. That's right.
Yes,
and Mavs fans went nuts for it. Mavs fans went nuts for it because it was actually medical news, and we found out who. It doesn't matter. I'm saying
that's the point.
But do we know?
But do we know who it was?
But do we really know his like? Do we really know?
No, and none of those guys played a single game last season.
No,
and, I remember back to the reports about the Keith Belton versus Johan Billsborough blow up situation that almost HR had to get involved or whatever. Everyone wanted Keith Belton out of here, and then guess what happened? Last season, none of those guys played a single game, and now Johan Billsborough's gone too. And it's like,
I hope I am wrong. I hope I am wrong. I hope they hire someone famous. I hope they do a press conference about it, and I am wrong. But I just think you have to brace for the possibility that they hire someone and we don't have a zillion-page dossier on what it actually means. I could be wrong. I mean, I hope I'm wrong because this has to be the only NBA show where this question is asked on every show.
Well, this is a franchise that also had Casey Smith, and we all know how he did around here. So, folks just want that vibe.
Not to be a troll or anything, but there were a lot of Mavs fans that during the first couple of years of that Luka KP era that were very frustrated with the Mavs training staff about KP and Maxey and some of the other guys that were in that. Brunson got hurt and missed the bubble. And Dwight. There was a lot of stuff back then. People had issues with Casey. They had issues with Deion Calhoun. And so no one is perfect.
All right, Stein, anything else before we let you go that you want to empty out? You got a notebook coming out tonight, I imagine. Yes, no, maybe so. All right, eyebrow raised. We'll take that for what it is. It's fine.
Blink.
Thank you.
Don't blink.
All right. Free agency opens tomorrow at 5 p.m. We'll see what the Mavs do, if anything. Right now, it just seems it's just. I guess I'll ask you this before you let you go. This front office, for what we've started to learn so far, has been pretty good about keeping things pretty close to the vest. Intentional, not intentional. Like what has been the vibe since this regime has taken over and how they conduct their business and what that can inform us on free agency and this trade period here.
I don't think I understand. I mean, because like especially in free agency, if the Mavs are going after guys, I mean, the reason you hear with all these players, like it comes out when the teams are after them, like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Mike Conley Jr. It comes out that Miami's interested. It comes out before free agency starts. Like, so perhaps it suggests that in advance of free agency, there hasn't been tons of aggression, but maybe, I mean, we'll see when the buzzer sounds at 5. Maybe there will be action. Sports Guy TO, tomorrow starts year 34 for me. So do you think I like it? I'm the luckiest dude in the world. 34 seasons in a row. With my diet, that's quite amazing.
And with that, we'll let you go report. Stein, thank you so much for the time. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow. Be good, everybody.
See you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye, Mark.
All right. Last few minutes here on our show. Yep, we're all back. Yep. There we go. Oh, Tan's doing this on purpose now. Now he's just doing this on purpose. Yep, exactly. He's just doing this on purpose now. Anything that stuck out to you guys from today? Kristaps Porzingis, 2-year, $40 million deal to return to the Golden State Warriors. We saw the John Morant
that
deal.
was interesting because like we heard about like the old man team about to get together, and then KP's like middle fingers to that. I'm gonna sign my deal. Like Draymond's like taking less to get LeBron's, like maybe he's taking less to like get KP back is what it looks like, or maybe he's not taking less. Maybe that's what he's actually worth now. Like we'll see what happens. I do find it really funny though that we got a Draymond a clutch client, a LeBron a clutch client, an AD a clutch client, all like somehow
Rich Paul run this. Rich Paul run
like
this.
Rich Paul is Chris Paul of running PR stuff. So it's very in some ways I love watching Rich Paul do his thing because he doesn't feel like anybody better at getting the narrative out there.
Deals we saw today, as we mentioned, Kristaps Porzingis, 2-year, $40 million contract extension with Golden State. Harrison Barnes, 1 year, $8 million to stay with San Antonio. Kevin Huerter gets a 3-year deal at $27 million to return to the Detroit Pistons. We also saw Bobby's favorite center in the world, Yusuf Nurkic, get a 2-year, $22 million deal with the Utah Jazz.
More like Boosif Nurkic.
You've been waiting to get that one off, haven't you? As my wife and daughter get ready to come in to say goodnight, I'll hear and just say, shout out to Sports Guy TO for getting 5 DLLS Sports memberships.
Come
say hi to the people. Come say hi to the people.
We love it.
What do we got? Spam the Dirk emoji.
Come on, come say hi to the people. Come on.
Not the Anthony Davis one?
Yeah, show off your good hair. Show off your hair bonnet. Come on.
Remove that one from our.
Y'all get ready to say hi to my family. They want to say good night to everyone. Come on. Y'all delaying it. We trying to get off the show. Y'all need to come on. All right, everybody say hello. That's my daughter. That's my wife. That's my wife. Hello. I'm sorry. Good night. Love y'all. See, y'all say good night to Mrs. Gray and Victoria. All right. Love y'all.
Lilo and Stitch.
I'll come tuck you in a little bit. Go ahead. Love you. She ready her birthday tomorrow, so she excited. She ready for her birthday.
Victoria was so happy to come on the camera.
She's not camera shy at all. She does her own personal podcast in the car and when we driving, so she loves it. You shut that door for me. Thank you. Appreciate you. What else we got? Julian Champagny, Bobby's favorite Champagny. He gets a new deal today. 3 years, $45 million to stay with San Antonio. Yeah, 3 years, $45 million for San Antonio.
That's a pretty good deal, to be honest.
I thought it was a pretty good deal for sure. Lou Dort, $17.7 million option picked up by the Oklahoma City Thunder going into next year as well. So there's also that. We'll get to the super here in just a second. Appreciate y'all. Landry Shamet, 4-year, $24 million deal to return to the Knicks. So $6 million a year for Landry Shamet. Bobby's other favorite player, Jonathan Kuminga, had his $24.3 million option declined today by the Atlanta Hawks. That means Jonathan Kuminga is an unrestricted free agent and free to sign with Bobby's Dallas Mavericks at any point, at any time during this free agency period.
You cannot make me do that. You cannot make me do that.
We can't make you do it? Okay.
No.
Ron Harrod Jr., second GOAT of all time with the Washington Wizards, Bradley Beal, had his $5.6 million player option declined today. Actually, he declined his $5.6 million player option to remain with the Los Angeles Clippers. So he's an unrestricted free agent. Bob, you want a sharpshooter Bradley Beal at this stage in his career?
He is not a sharpshooter and never really has been, Kevin.
That is true. That is the truth. He's never really been a sharpshooter, as the numbers indicate.
Bradley Beal is way too young to be on the Mavs. All right, the Mavs only go for guys 35 and up.
So would Marcus Smart interest you then?
On the Heat.
Marcus Smart actually would interest me quite a bit, but I believe that ship has sailed.
Yeah, he may be going to Houston, but he declined his $5.4 million player option today to become a free agent. Andrew Wiggins, he signs a 3-year, $64 million contract extension to stay.
Face is so funny to me. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
the little crocodile face is so funny.
Andrew Wiggins is back with the Miami Heat. He picked up. He's got a player option that third season to stay there. DeAndre Ayton picked up his $8.1 million player option today to stay with the Los Angeles Lakers. Congratulations to him, I guess. Shaedon Sharpe, 2 years, $20 million to return to Brooklyn. And then the other big one today, Draymond Green deciding to forego his $27.7 million player option with the Golden State Warriors to become a free agent. Does that mean LeBron, AD, Steph, and Draymond get together? Who the hell knows? But yes, Nathan, Ayton did pick up his option at $8.1 million, so he's back in Los Angeles, at least for the time being. Those are the big ones today as far as the NBA was concerned. That really got – I almost forgot. Zach LaVine opted in to his $49 million player option today. Right, shocked, exactly. I hit the go button on $49 million, and he did that today for the Sacramento Kings. And James Harden declined his $42.3 million option as they're working to sign a new multi-year agreement with the Clippers. And Fred VanVleet opted into his $25 million player option. He's also a clutch client, Ron, just in case you were wondering. There you go.
Shout out Fred.
Yeah, good for Fred. Him and the Houston Rockets. All right, gentlemen, any takeaways before we get out of here? Victor Lugo with the $4.99 super chat. No Kawhi, but does this tell us Mavs front office are willing to make win now moves? Maybe.
I don't know that that's the conclusion I would draw from that. Because I mean, apparently, Stein said that's. He didn't say that it wasn't true, but he didn't say that is a serious thing. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's also it feels like just from being around them today, doesn't feel like that's gonna happen. But I set it down, then in 2 hours I get a breaking news on my phone. So you can never say 100% no, but it doesn't feel like they're still pursuing that. But maybe the Clippers get desperate. We'll see. I doubt it though.
All right, boys and girls, 4:45 p.m. 4:45 p.m. is when we will go live tomorrow afternoon. Ahead of NBA free agency, which officially opens at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for our lovely folks on the East Coast. So we will go live at 4:45 p.m. Central Standard Time ahead of NBA free agency. What will the Mavericks do? What will we see across the rest of the league? You will find out with us as we will go live at 4:45 p.m. Make sure you mark your calendar and your clock tomorrow for free agency. Buzzer beater super chat. and Kenneth with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports wherever you get your podcast. The DLLS Mavs, excuse me, wherever you get your podcast for free. Give it a 5-star rating and write a review for it while you're there. Your ratings really help us get noticed and seen. And make sure if you have already not liked the video, do so. Over 600 of you live with us watching right now. So make sure you like the video on your way out the door. Appreciate our guy Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. You can also become a diehard at alldlls.com to make sure you check that out to become a diehard member. Join us here on the DLLS Sports Family. Again, we're live tomorrow at 4:45 p.m. right here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Shout out to our guy Tanner for making this look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. That is our DLLS Mavs analyst, Bobby Carella. That is our DLLS Mavs beat writer, Ron Harrod Jr. I'm your man, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. Talk tomorrow at 4:45 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.